I had this calling inside me that just said, you're different. So I just prayed, I'm like, God, why me? And he said, if not you, then who? And I'm crying, like I'm crying in bed. I said, so now what? I just felt like I'm either going to make it big and really do something extraordinary, or I'm not. I'm gonna be a complete loser. Anything in life, like grade school, middle school, high school, college, everything's somewhere between 3 and 5 years to dedicate yourself and to become, next level or exceptional. So I thought to myself, okay, if I can dedicate myself for the next 3 to 5 years, I had no money. There was even a time period where I was sleeping in my car. I was homeless. I just thought to myself, if I keep going, if I commit myself to this, stay disciplined and dedicated, I reinvest everything back into this, one day it'll pay off.
Easy, come on.
I want to say a massive thank you to the sponsor of the video today, who made all of this possible, Marek Health. Marek Health are helping me with my own health, and they've been helping Derek, Mr. Olympia, with his health too. If you want to find out more about Marek Health, go to the link down below and use code Mulligan at checkout for exclusive offers. Thank you so much to Marek.
I'm Derek Lunsford, Mr. Olympia, also 212 Olympia champion, making me the first 2-division Olympia champion, Mr. Olympia, as well as most recently Arnold Classic bodybuilding champion. Where I come from is a small town in the Midwest USA. So I come from a small town of Indiana. There's really not a whole lot going on where I'm from. I think we maybe had a little over 100 people that graduated from my high school. So there really wasn't much to do other than, hunt, fish, maybe, do some 4-wheel riding, getting dirty. For me, I always wanted to be extraordinary. I want to always be the best I could be at something. So when I went out for something, I gave it my all. And instead of getting into maybe not the right things, I decided to just dedicate my life to sports. And I wanted to be all I could be. So I would go to the gym and I would train. In high school, I was a 130-pound wrestler, not a big bodybuilder. I was a small kid growing up. So I never thought in a million years that bodybuilding would be the path for me. That came, in the future in college when I found bodybuilding. But I just had this drive in me that I wanted to be all that I could be. And I had a chip on my shoulder from my upbringing where, I had people in my life telling me that you're worthless, you'll never make anything of yourself, you're lazy, I'd never hire you at my job because of all this. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'll show you how great I am. I'm gonna show the whole world how great I am.
Doesn't look like a lot of work's getting done around here. What's going on?
Initially, it started with this chip on my shoulder to be great at the sports that I was competing in. And then when I realized in college that wrestling would not be my future, it was an identity crisis for me because I put my all into that. That was my identity, was wrestler Derek Lunsford, And then I thought, okay, what am I gonna do now? So I continued to go to school, I got my degree, but I wasn't really passionate about anything. The only thing I was really, truly passionate about and I was consistent with was going to the gym. It was all I loved. It's all I cared about was just going to the gym every day. And I don't know, maybe it was to release some negative energy at that time. And even in high school, I would train 3 times a day. I would wake up first thing in the morning and I would be at school before anybody was there, maybe an hour, hour and a half before school started. And I would either run on the track or I would swim in the pool with the swimming coach, just to put me through some cardiovascular conditioning for wrestling or soccer. And then during school, I had a weightlifting class that I combined with lunch, and I would do my weight training. And then after school, I would go to practice, let's say wrestling practice, and then I would do our 2-hour wrestling practice. And then, you know, if we still had enough in us, you know, me and my training partner would go to his house where he had some wrestling mats, and we would do some additional drills at the end of the night. And then we would wake up and do it again the next day. The only time we took a break from that was when we had a tournament on Saturday, and then we rested on Sunday. And then Monday through Friday, we were just all around the clock athletes. But I felt like in this process of trying to figure out who I am, I'm gonna continue to do what I love and what I'm passionate about, and see where this takes me. And that's whenever I came across bodybuilding. I didn't even know bodybuilding was a thing. That competitive bodybuilding, the NPC, IFBB Pro League, or Mr. Olympia was even something out there that was available. And once I found that, I said, okay, like if I can discipline myself and dedicate myself to bodybuilding the same way I did wrestling, I believe I can go somewhere with this. And so I just took a leap of faith and committed right there on the spot that I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. And I remember that very clearly, that I looked myself in the mirror in my car before going in on a leg day. And I remember telling myself in the mirror, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. I said it twice, so I really confirmed to myself, this is what I'm committed to. And from then on out, I said, this is gonna be my life. I don't think anybody could have truly believed in me, even the people that loved me the most, because I was so far away from where I am today that you would look at me and say that I'm crazy. You know, you're not the biggest guy in the world, right? Like you're probably 140 pounds, and to think that you're gonna be Mr. Olympia one day is delusional. But I love that. I love that. I always thrived off that, especially through wrestling and other sports, is that I loved to do things that other people couldn't imagine doing, or didn't want to do, or couldn't do. Because one, it was either too hard, or two, they just couldn't envision it for themselves. I remember going in that day and telling everybody in the gym that I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. I remember the look on people's faces. And like I said, that drove me, because I could feel a little bit of the doubt in people. For me, I just had to have this complete and total belief that I am resilient. I had to know this about myself, that I am someone who is resilient, who always has been resilient, is always gonna keep moving forward in the face of adversity, because I like to think that the spectator is not the visionary.
Let's go. Nuts and best in the world, baby. Let's go. Come on. Okay. Nuts and come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on, champ. 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 Come on. Push. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing this. Nobody. Come on. Go there. Take it there. Fight. More. Again. More. Come on. Yeah. Bro.
Well, yeah, so I would typically try to find a parking lot that was available. I can't say that every parking lot allowed me to stay there. There's been times where I got kicked out of parking lots. Maybe like a grocery store, like a Walmart, or like the school. I would stay at like the school, or like a gym parking lot or something like that. And I would just sleep there for however long I could rest. And then I would go into the gym and I would typically like shower at the gym. Really all I did was just, I was in my car, I would go to the gym or I'd go to work. And so that's what I did. And I'm not suggesting that everybody listening to this should, you know, drop out of college and become a bodybuilder, but that's just the way I viewed what I wanted to do. I can continuously refine myself, the way that I think, and the person that I am to be better every day, then the outward appearance of being a bodybuilder is gonna follow suit. And I would like to think that that applies to anything in life. You know, if I took a job, it was because I said, okay, this is gonna lead me in the direction that I'd like to go. I'd like to work at a supplement store because I wanna learn more about supplements and I wanna learn more about diet and nutrition and have conversations with people about this so that I can be more knowledgeable to apply that to what I truly wanna do, which is bodybuilding. I also, before that, I took a job as a server at a restaurant because at that time, I was honestly very shy and I didn't like to meet new people. And I knew that this was an opportunity to get me out of my comfort zone, to be great at bodybuilding or anything in life, that these were gonna be things that would come in the future. Speaking in front of people, meeting new people, discipline and sacrifice, work ethic. I had to develop that first within myself before I ever could be where I am today. I wish I could tell you that every day that I come to the gym, I'm motivated. And to some degree I am, because I wanna be all that I can be. I want to be the best in the world, and I want to do things that nobody else wants to do. I like to do the hard stuff. However, I wish I could tell you that every day is fun in the gym. It's not. There's a lot of days where I'm grinding, and it's just a challenge to get through my day, let alone come in here and lift as much weight as I possibly can handle for as many reps as I possibly can do. Today is one of those days where I've been training all week. This is my last day of training before a rest day tomorrow. And all of those reps and sets throughout the week has caught up to me, along with the dieting and being low body fat. So, just like you and everybody else out there, I'm human. I'm not bulletproof, but I am resilient. And so we're in here getting after it because this body's not gonna shape up itself. This weight's not gonna move itself. Somebody's gotta be the best. Somebody's gotta do the extra work. Sign me up, I'm here to do it. So let's go, let's keep working. You do have to have some sort of crazy delusional belief in yourself that you can make it to the top when you're far away from it. But I found a lot of motivation, inspiration, and I guess you could say mentorship from YouTube. I know that sounds crazy, but I would just research and get to know more about people that were exceptional in their fields. Similar to what you're doing here with your platform. I would, whether it be Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or any of these greats, it's like I wanted to know what made them exceptional, what made them different than everybody else. And if you look across the board at all sports, all endeavors, you'll see that there's something common, something similar, and it's the mindset, it's the way they think. So I thought to myself, if I ever want to be the best in the world at something, I'm gonna have to be the one that sets the standard. I'm gonna have to go over and above what anybody else is willing to do. Being a champion is not winning. That comes after, like I said, a ton of sacrifice, over and over going through things that you'd rather not go through, troubling times, challenging times. Being able to overcome those times is what creates the champion. So the champion isn't just the one who wins in a moment. Anybody can win in a moment. Everybody has a puncher's chance, so to speak. But a true champion is someone who can remain resilient through it all, through the highs and the lows, and just continue on their path. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that extra, right? And so for me, I knew that I had to do more, whether it be put in more work or to sacrifice more, what have you. I just had to do more. And so I looked at guys like I mentioned, like Kobe Bryant, maybe a Michael Jordan, a Mike Tyson. There is, like I said, a similarity to all of them, and I had to find that and figure out what that was. I'll take you back. There was a moment in the gym watching a specific YouTube video, a bodybuilding motivational video, where I saw a compilation of guys like Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, Flex Lewis, some of the greats, Ronnie Coleman. And again, I was so far away from that physique to even be able to stand next to a great champion like that on stage. I was so far away from that. But again, I believe that if I continue to stay dedicated and disciplined to this craft, just like I was with wrestling, I believed if I put one foot in front of the other, 1 year at a time, one show at a time, I would eventually get there.
It's a healthy relationship with the weight in the gym. Just like the competition on stage, there's a war, there's a fight between me and this weight, but there's a healthy respect that I have for lifting this amount of weight, because this is a good amount of weight for anybody to lift. I'm not a strong man, I'm not a power lifter, I'm a bodybuilder. So I'm ultimately sculpting the physique. So I don't need to be lifting what these other guys in these other sports are lifting. But that being said, we also can't be just lifting lightweight all the time. We gotta push ourselves to do more weight, more reps, and with good strict form, because at the end of the day, we're trying to stimulate the muscle. So there's a healthy relationship between going to war with the weight and fighting for every rep, and also respecting the weight and it being my friend, so to speak, because you have to respect the weight, but you also are going to war with it too. So
I'm a very strong believer in Jesus, and so I fully committed my life to him in 2020. I was in a bad depression. I didn't want to even be here anymore. I was in a really, really rough spot, about as bad as it could get for me. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm gonna be here, then God, you take control. So I fully surrendered my life to God in 2020. And that was an absolutely freeing moment for me. But it also switched the way I thought about that chip on my shoulder. I realized that I needed to forgive those people that had hurt me growing up. Whether they deserved it or not, I needed to forgive them. I needed to love them. I just felt like, okay, like I'm committed. I'm committed, and this is reassurance that I'm gonna make it. And I think whenever I turned pro as Mr. USA, and I got my first supplement contract, that's when I thought, okay, I'm here, I made it. And that same year, I also won my pro debut the week after I won my pro card. And I qualified for the Olympia and placed top 5 in the 212 Olympia. So it was like within less than 2 months, I went from being an amateur to top 5 in the world in my respected division. And so that's when I really felt like, okay, we're here. We're here now, and now it's time to be a world champion. Like, I want to be the best. You need great competition to pull out your best. And so I don't think that Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, I don't think that they would have been as exceptional as they are or were had they not had great competitors. When I look at like a Flex Lewis, a Samson Dauda, Hadi Chupin, or any of these other guys, you know, I'm thankful for them. They really drive me to be all that I can be. And the days that I'm really grinding and I'm suffering and it's hard, I think about what they're doing. And I think they're some of the best in the world and they're gonna do whatever it takes to be the best. So if I wanna be the best, I have to exceed that. But for Flex Lewis, it was interesting for me to go up against him because I was such a fan. I was such a fan of him while I was competing next to him. So that one was so weird for me because on one hand, I wanted to be friends with him. I wanted to get to know him and I wanted to be friends with him and I wanted almost like mentorship from him. And on the other hand, we're competitors and he doesn't want to give his title up to some kid that just came along the scene.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I am feeling it today. From the very beginning of this workout, I have very little energy. I really wasn't sure how today's training was gonna go. But these are the days that separate, you know, the professional and the best in the world to the amateur and the people that want it but don't want it bad enough. And so this is the moment. Anybody can come in here and have a great workout when they're feeling good and they got energy and they're motivated, but it's really the days that are a grind that separates first place and second place. So if you're able to recognize that and just take it one rep, one set at a time, one exercise at a time, and push yourself with every set, every rep, you know, then you're still gonna have a good workout. And like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not a power lifter, I'm not a strong man, I'm a bodybuilder. And so coming in here, stimulating the muscle is most important. Giving my best effort is most important. If the weight that I move is a PR or, you know, a personal best, great. If it's not, then that's okay too. Maybe my body just isn't, you know, doesn't have enough, you know, energy or support from my diet to be able to push that weight. But if I'm giving 100% effort every single time, then I have nothing to question, you know? So I'm just coming in here, giving my best. And to be honest, like I said, really don't have much in me today, but nonetheless, it's been a good workout so far. We are not done, let me tell you that.
Each division plays its key role in our sport and our industry, and you have to respect it all, absolutely. But when it comes down to it, there is one title that everybody wants, and that's the Open Mr. Olympia title.
Okay, so you win the 212 Olympia, you know, huge moment for you. And the smart decision would be to go back, defend your title, you know, and probably have a clean sheet again. And then you decide to do open. Like, first of all, what was the public sort of opinion of that at the time? Like, what were people saying?
I think most people thought I should stay 212 at the time and didn't believe that I could compete, especially within 1 year from 212 to open. Once again, I had a crazy belief in myself that, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna come compete with the best. And realistically, that first year, I thought if I bring my best from the 212 the previous year to open debut, I thought that I could truly be within that top 3 call out. I landed in second place, but I truly believe that top 3 was where I would land. And I think most people was not expecting that, which is fair. Used to maybe it would have bothered me a little bit more if people doubted what I'm capable of. But now I see it like that's more of a realistic expectation. These expectations that are unrealistic for myself, and like that's what drives me every day. Is I want to do something that's that people are like, nah, he can't do that. That's too far-fetched. That excites me. So I think it's a fair assessment that there was a lot of people doubting, but I think once I showed up, people said, "Oh, this is different. This is not what we're used to." So, and I think that moment was one of the coolest moments in my bodybuilding journey, my bodybuilding career, was when I walked out on that stage for the first time in the open at the Mr. Olympia. You could literally hear the air in the room get sucked out. Everybody went, and then, like, you could feel the energy in the air just like getting sucked out of the room, and it was just silent. And then I remember when I turned to the back, the crowd just went crazy. That was probably one of the coolest moments in my bodybuilding career and journey, was just being able to be on stage and captivating the audience all at one time. And it reminded me of, you know, a guy who inspired me, Jay Cutler, when he did that quad stomp in 2009 and the place went crazy. I felt like that was my moment at that time, and it was a very special and very cool moment that I'll never forget, for sure.
You're finally at the moment where you're ready. You've been on stage. You know, it's down to the final two. They're about to call the winner. You hear your name. What's that moment like?
It was history. In that moment, history was made. I was the first 2-division Olympia champion and the 18th Mr. Olympia of all time, and receiving the People's Champion Award that same night. I knew if my name was called that this was very monumental in bodybuilding history. And the fact that after it was all said and done, I don't know if anybody had left the room. The greatest was, you know, having my wife on stage who was pregnant, kissing her belly. Everybody had come, rushed the stage, and just stayed there for, I don't know how long, it felt like forever. It was one of the best moments of my life. This year, I have had a great start to the year, winning the Arnold Classic title. A lot of people told me not to do it. The greats that came before me said, don't do it, just wait till the Olympia. So there's been very few people who have won the Arnold Classic and the Olympia in the same year in the open bodybuilding division. So that in itself would be historical to do that. However, there's a new show, the Pittsburgh Pro. And anyone that's ever won the 3 biggest shows of the year, all in the same year. I'm now preparing for the Pittsburgh Pro, and then I will end my year at the Mr. Olympia. And if all goes well, we're gonna make history and get that title back. Be the greatest. I wanna be the greatest that I can possibly be. And I don't want, when I retire, to have any regrets. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. I want to be doing this for quite some time. But I want to know that every day I gave it my absolute everything. So if I'm suffering, good. I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to be the one doing the things that other people aren't willing to do. Again, I thrive off that. I get excited about that. It's not something that I necessarily want to do all the time or forever, but it's what I've signed up for. It's what I chose to do. And so for me, like I said, I don't want to get to the end of this and think, man, I could have gave more. I could have went a little harder. I could have been a little bit better if I would have just sucked it up during that moment. Because frankly, the window of opportunity is so short. First of all, the window of life is short. to do whatever it is that you're gonna do in this world is so limited, so short. And then the opportunity to do what it is that you're good at and what you're called to do is even shorter. So I only have a small window of opportunity to give my absolute everything to this.
You know, there's a lot of ways to build muscle, a lot of ways to get shredded. You know, I have my method of what I like to do that I feel like is most optimal and beneficial for me to make the best progress. But simply, if somebody out there is asking, how do you know if you had a good workout or not? Well, I think if you leave the gym and you feel like you had a good workout, you probably did. If you feel like when you left the gym, you had a little bit more in you, you could have done more, you probably did. So leave it all in the gym every single day. That's what I was saying. Doesn't matter how you feel. If you're feeling great, good. Do more. Go a little heavier, do some more reps, do another exercise or two. Do a couple more sets, whatever. But the days that are more challenging, just the fact that you got into the gym and you put forth your best effort, that's all you can ask for every single day. So if you know you're doing that and you're leaving the gym feeling like you gave it your best, well, then it was a successful day. That being said, I could leave the gym right now and feel it was a successful day, but I also would go home knowing that, man, you didn't hit any biceps. So now we got to go do that. Let me go wash my hands and we'll do some biceps.